A cold wind swept across the empty parking lot as 34-year-old single dad Ethan Cole pulled his jacket tighter around himself. He had just finished a 10-hour shift at the auto workshop, his hands aching, his clothes stained with grease, his mind exhausted, but all that mattered was reaching home and seeing his 7-year-old daughter Lily, who always waited at the window with 2 mugs of warm cocoa. Ethan lived for that moment every day. He started his old truck, the engine coughing with tiredness just like him. As he drove onto the dim street toward home, something made him slow down. A woman staggered out from behind a dumpster, her face bruised, her eyes terrified. Ethan braked hard. She looked around as if being chased. He stepped out cautiously. "Ma'am, are you okay?" She winced, breathing fast. "Please, don't let them find me." Before Ethan could respond, 2 men in dark hoodies rushed toward them from across the alley. The woman froze. Ethan reacted on instinct. He grabbed a metal rod lying near the dumpster and stepped in front of her. "Back off," he said firmly. The men didn't. One pulled out a knife. Ethan swung the rod, hitting the man's forearm. The knife dropped. The second lunged forward and Ethan pushed him back, shouting for help. A neighbor opened a window and called the police. The men ran. But within minutes, police cars surrounded Ethan and the woman. Officers jumped out and immediately handcuffed him. "What are you doing?" Ethan protested. "I was protecting her." One officer shoved him toward the car. "You assaulted 2 citizens with a deadly weapon." "I didn't. They tried to attack her." But the woman was gone, vanished, as if she had never existed. Ethan was charged with assault and endangering public safety. He begged to contact his daughter, but they refused. In one night, his entire world collapsed. At the quick trial, no witnesses showed up to speak for him. No video footage, nothing. He was sentenced to 18 months in Redwood State Prison, one of the toughest facilities in the district. The courtroom blurred when he heard Lily cry out, "Daddy, no!" He tried to smile for her, but inside he felt something break. Prison life hardened men, but Ethan refused to let it break him. He worked in the laundry, kept to himself, avoided gangs, and counted the days until he could see Lily again. He wrote her letters every week. She wrote back with drawings of their home, their dog, and a big stick figure version of him with the words "Super Dad" on the chest. Those drawings kept him alive. 6 months into his sentence, everything changed. A new woman arrived at the prison with the warden, elegant, confident, wearing a tailored black suit. She looked far too important to be there. The entire facility whispered. Auditors from the state. Government inspection? But then Ethan saw her face. It was her, the woman from the alley. She glanced around, pretending not to recognize him, but Ethan felt his stomach twist. Why was she here? Why hadn't she testified? Why had she disappeared? Why was she walking beside the warden like she owned the place? The warden addressed the inmates. "This is Ms. Aria Hale. She is the new exclusive investor for Redwood Prison's expansion. All financial authority for this facility now goes through her." The prisoners murmured in shock. Ethan froze. Investor? Authority? The woman he had gone to jail for was the one controlling the prison's entire bank account? Aria Hale scanned the room, but when her eyes met Ethan's, she looked away too quickly. That night, Ethan lay awake on his thin mattress, surrounded by snores and steel bars. He didn't know whether to feel betrayed or confused. Had she set him up? Used him? Manipulated him? The next morning, a guard woke him up. "Cole, you're wanted in the admin block." He followed the guard through long hallways until he reached a private office. Aria was sitting there alone. "Hello, Ethan," she said quietly. He clenched his jaw. "You remember my name now?" She flinched. "I'm sorry." "Why are you here?" he demanded. "Why didn't you tell them the truth? Why didn't you help me?" Her hands trembled. She clasped them tightly. "Because those men who attacked me, they work for my family." He frowned. "Your family?" "My father owns several companies. One of them handles private prison funding, Redwood included. Those men were sent to bring me back home. I had run away that night." Ethan stared at her, stunned. "My father is strict," she continued. "Controlling. I was trying to escape from a life he planned for me. But when the police came, if I had told the truth, my father would have found me immediately. He would have forced me back, and you," her voice cracked, "you would have been in danger because you protected me. So you let me go to jail?" He whispered, hurt. She shook her head desperately. "I didn't want to. I thought I thought I'd be able to fix it before it reached the court. But everything spiraled. And once you were sentenced, I felt responsible. I had to do something. So you bought the prison? Not bought, she corrected softly. Reinvested, redirected, took control of its finances. It was the only way to help you from the inside. Without my father knowing. Ethan didn't know whether to be angry or amazed. You let my daughter watch me go to prison, he said, voice shaking. Arya wiped her tears. I know, I'm so sorry. I watch every visiting list to see if she comes. But she hasn't, maybe it's better, she shouldn't see you here. His eyes filled. She's my whole world. Arya stepped closer. I can help get you out, Ethan, legally, clean record. He looked up sharply. How? I've been gathering evidence. Financial trails, CCTV logs, police misconduct. She took a breath. Your arrest was mishandled. I can prove it. But I need you to trust me. He hesitated. Trust was the very thing she had broken. But she was the only one fighting for him now. Why? He asked quietly. Why are you doing all this? Arya met his eyes. Because you were the first person in my life who protected me without wanting anything. You risked everything for a stranger. Nobody has ever done that for me. For the next 3 months, Arya visited the prison often, under the guise of financial inspections. But every visit was secretly about working on Ethan's appeal. She brought him updates, documents, new evidence. They spoke softly behind closed doors. She learned about Lily, about Ethan's struggles as a single dad, about his dreams of owning his own mechanic shop someday. And Ethan learned about Arya's lonely life, all wealth and no freedom. Somewhere during those stolen conversations, something gentle and fragile formed between them. Not love yet, but understanding, warmth, trust healing itself. At night, Ethan would lie awake thinking about her soft voice, her fierce determination, her guilt that never quite left her eyes. Finally, the day came. Arya rushed into the office with a trembling smile. It's done. I submitted everything. The court accepted the petition. Your case is officially under review. Ethan exhaled, overwhelmed. Arya, thank you. But she looked nervous. There will be backlash. My father will notice soon. I'm risking a lot, Ethan. He stepped closer. I know. And I don't care, she whispered. 2 weeks later, the prison warden called Ethan into his office. Cole, pack up. You're going home. The words didn't feel real, but he walked out of Redwood State Prison with shaking hands, holding a small bag of belongings. The sky brighter than he remembered. At the gate, Lily ran toward him, tears streaming, tiny arms flinging around his waist. Ethan dropped to his knees, hugging her so tightly he could barely breathe. Daddy, don't go again, she whispered. Never, he promised. I'm never leaving you again. Arya stood a few feet away, watching, her eyes soft with relief. But before Ethan could speak to her, a black limousine pulled up. A tall man in a suit stepped out, Arya's father. His expression was cold, furious. Arya, get in the car. She froze. Father, you've interfered long enough. Ethan stepped in front of her instinctively. Her father narrowed his eyes. Ah, the mechanic. Arya whispered, don't. But Ethan remained firm. She doesn't want to go with you. Her father scoffed. She belongs with her family. And you. He glared at Arya. You've embarrassed us enough. Buying prison accounts to free criminals? She's not going with you, Ethan repeated. You think you can protect her? Her father mocked. You're a nobody. A single father with nothing. Arya's voice trembled, but she stepped closer to Ethan. He's not nobody. A long silence hung in the air. Her father finally exhaled sharply. Fine if you walk away with him. You're no longer part of this family. No inheritance. No support, nothing. Arya took a deep breath. I don't need any of it, she said. Not if it means going back to a life where I'm trapped. Her father stared at her as if seeing her for the first time. But he said nothing. He got back into the limousine and drove away. Arya watched the car disappear, then let out a shaky breath. You didn't have to give up everything, Ethan said quietly. She looked at him with a soft smile. I didn't lose anything that mattered. He swallowed. What will you do now? I'll figure it out, she whispered. Maybe and start fresh. Lily tugged Ethan's sleeve. Daddy, is she coming home with us? Arya gasped softly, surprised. Ethan looked at her. If you want, he said gently. Arya's eyes filled with tears. I'd like that. If it's okay. It is, Ethan said. It really is. And so the three of them walked away from the prison, Ethan holding Lily's hand on one side, Arya on the other, starting a new chapter neither of them had ever expected. A chapter born from a night of fear, a prison bank account, a broken justice system, and a single dad who chose to protect a stranger even when it cost him everything. Sometimes fate hides miracles in the darkest places. Sometimes strangers become family in the most impossible ways. And for Ethan and Arya, this was only the beginning.